I love the clouds and sunsets that have come with this year. I don't know what type of clouds they are, but they look very fractally, meaning that a fractal is when the pattern repeats and repeats at smaller and smaller scales, and which is part of chaos theory. And this time that mathematical structure, I guess, really stands out in a lot of them, which is fascinating. It reminds me of the sort of, I don't know if you'd call it a paradox, but the impossibility of measuring a shoreline, because how long a shoreline is depends on just how small you if there's an area of the shore that's like this and has little rivulets. If you're making a map of the US, you kind of have to just generalize. But if you wanted to make the map truly accurate, you would have to measure every little rivulet. And so based on that, well, theoretically, it's infinite if you go small enough. But practically speaking, if you're not going on the microscopic scale or whatever, I've heard it said that Maryland actually has the longest shoreline in the US, longer than California, which when you look at a map of Maryland, that kind of makes sense. But a lot of those rivulets gradually turn into brackish rivers and then into freshwater rivers to go up. Where does the bay end and the river begin? So those are my thoughts on chaos theory, fractals. The other thing is, if you tried to measure every aspect of an area, like the shoreline, or like every blade of grass, you would have a map. The most if you want to have a completely accurate map, it would have to be the size of the territory, which would be, of course, redundant and impossible. And so the interesting idea that I guess I'm getting at there is that reducing an idea or a physical reality to a general symbol, even if it's not accurate, it can at least point towards accuracy and help you get closer to the truth. Like, atoms do not look like the way they're drawn, but you at least, it gives you an idea of what they are. So yeah, so that's why, and then you can project meaning onto them. And so projection is not a bad thing. It's an interesting thing. It helps us understand the world, as long as we understand that what we're looking at is a projection and not the real thing. And so we don't mistake the map for the territory. Another way to look at it is, you can mistake the value and quality of a good thing. And this is something I've realized recently, is that if you're praying that God blesses you because the standard that you have is that I want to be happy, and God, you should make me happy, because the standard is it's bad for me to feel pain because it hurts. And I think you can I'm a little bit of a rabbit trail here. I don't know how I got on that. But I think that the standard should be, God, I deserve to be blessed because I am a human being made in your image. And the standard that I'm appealing to is something that does apply to myself but is bigger than myself. It's that everybody deserves to be blessed and to be happy because they are loved by God and made in God's image. And so when I receive those good things, I feel like that attitude makes me value them in the way that they're meant to be valued. That the goodness is not inherent in the house you live in or the career that you have or your relationships. It's the presence of God and love that imbues them with that. So that's all I'm going to say about that.